views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BXRX. In fact, coming up on today's show, we'll speak to the founder of an organization that is having a profound impact on emerging professionals in the Westchester community and beyond. Got a lot coming up. Then we'll check in with the national spokesperson for Jehovah's Witnesses, who will speak to us about a major court decision that has generational impact for our freedom of speech. Then after that, we'll speak to a legend in the gospel world about his storied career. That's coming up. You don't want to miss that. And then Bobby C., he steps into the room with the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll hear from a jazz legend who will promote his latest album and much, much more. All of this, all headed your way. We've got it going on for you. I'm the Doc. We're going to rock. We're open. Welcome, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. You're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Got a whole lot going on this morning. You can keep it right here, kick off your shoes and relax your feet. In fact, leading things off, our first guest is the founder and chief experience officer for the Westchester. She joins us to speak about her organization and how she is helping others climb their way up the professional ladder. That's how you do the thing. Please welcome to the show, Charlene A. Nixon. Charlene, welcome.
Thank you, Bob. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Charlene, I heard you had a wonderful experience. You had the cookout and all that stuff going on for this past Memorial Day.
Oh, yes. We had a 3-day celebration of food, fun, and family.
And no leftovers. Huh?
No leftovers, nothing. And no category you can think of we had leftovers.
So Charlene, I'm going to kick it right in there. Give us a little background on you and how you got started into the business world.
Well, that's a very open-ended question, so I'll do my best to make it condensed.
Yeah.
I got started in the business. My first career started in finance, though. I actually worked in the Twin Towers. So from finance to fashion, diamonds, and then the world of business networking. And though it may seem eclectic, it was all designed to service others. Have the person across the table achieve success. But how I got into business networking is really trying to advance my career. And that was the first time I was actually introduced to business networking. I didn't know what it was before I was introduced to it. And I was already a seasoned professional.
Yeah. So you came in there all polished up and ready to go. What inspired you to start the Westchester Multicultural Chamber?
A combination of lived experiences. So what I noticed in my business career when I had to get out there and network, when I said I did not know how to network, I didn't even know that there was a structure or plan to it. People just tell you go out there and network, and you go out there and you go to wine and cheese and nothing really happens, so you don't really know what to do. So in working with the world's largest business networking organization and helping to build it with the two founders, I learned a lot. And then I took my education, which one of my degrees is in education, early childhood, the art of teaching, and designed a curriculum to educate business professionals on the art of networking, what is needed, and how to use it in the time that they need it, not when I see or when someone else says. So what started this is, that was the first part of it, writing my book on how to network and using my educational background. And then with my business background now, same thing. We're all going out to networking events, but nothing is happening other than collecting cards. So in Westchester, where I am, I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of the diverse population networking within the larger population that seems to be having most of the events or the structured networking events. So I took it upon myself to use all of the tools and experience that I have.
Yeah.
Said, well, I'm going to create a platform so the diverse population of Westchester can feel included. Okay. And in addition to the inclusion, to get the tools and the skill set they need to build a successful business. Because people don't realize it, but there are 3 reasons why business fail. Money, marketing, management. And if you network properly, you would be able to plug those holes by putting together or creating relationships with your symbiotic partners and your power partners. And secondly, a lot of people don't know who their symbiotic partners are or who their power partners are. So the platform that I have is designed for small business entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs to come and get the tools that they need. And then we create a second platform for them to then, I would say, play with the tools, use the tools in a safe environment.
How do you find out who that partner is?
How do you find out who the partner is?
Yeah, you said
your power partner or your symbiotic partner?
The symbiotic partner, yeah.
Your symbiotic partner is based on your industry. Okay, so if you think about, let's say, a real estate broker, all right? A real estate broker, it's very organic. You need a mortgage broker. You need maybe a painter or someone to design the house. There's a whole lot of things. You need insurance. You need all other things that go together with the closing of one deal, right? So if you now plan out, okay, who do I need? Who is in this sphere with me? Then you're not the only one that's looking for the next gig. You have now partnered with 4 or 5 individuals who can get an opportunity from this one opportunity. So you want to buy a house, you need a real estate broker, you need insurance, you probably need a landscaper, you need someone to appraise. There's so many things that you need in this one opportunity that if you tie yourself into that symbiotic bubble, let's put it, then you all sort of fuel each other's business.
Yeah. Now, you're Trinity to the bone, right? I heard.
Trinity to the bone.
Trinity to the bone. How did you wind your way into being the first woman of color to start a major business in Westchester?
I would again say lived experience. And I was raised by a single father. My father was a single father, 2 girls. And I think I grew up, I guess, where everything is possible. And as long as you see an issue or you fix the problem, you don't just dwell on it. So I am very grateful for everything that this country has given me as far as opportunity and access and stuff. So I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to take everything that I learn and share it. I'm a little bit stubborn, I am stubborn and determined. And I will not fail.
You want what you want when you want it.
Exactly. And not only do I want what I want when I want it, I make it happen.
You make it happen.
Make it happen. You create the opportunity. Yeah. And in doing so, you do the handouts. I mean, the hand ups, not the handouts. You take your experience and you share it. And that's the most successful thing a business professional can do. If you help others, you are almost guaranteed to succeed.
I believe that.
So that's what you do. And that's all I'm doing here is helping other people achieve the dream and the success that they perceive for themselves.
So you have something coming up? What's the date on that?
One of our programs we do once a month, and it's called Business Before Breakfast. So we have that event coming up on June 15th, and it's called Impressive Introductions.
Yeah.
And again, when business professionals hear impressive introductions, it inside the box, you think, okay, I shake someone's hands and that's the impression. But no, We're showing you impressive introduction is more than that. So how's the world seeing you? You know, are you creating the perception that you want? Are you creating that opportunity for yourself by all the different avenues of introductions? Are you taking advantage of it?
Yeah.
I will show you what it is and how to do it.
Beautiful. And what's the date of that? That's
That
June
is June 15th,
June
yes,
15th.
at 8:30 a.m. at the Radisson Hotel in New Rochelle, New York.
There you go. Okay. Who's invited?
And breakfast is provided.
Breakfast is provided. Who's invited?
Who's anyone that is thinking of a business, anyone who has a small business, and an entrepreneur, a student, anyone who wants to learn about how do I project to the public? Am I projecting who I want to be seen as?
Yeah. How do I get my message out? How do I want this to look? How do I market myself?
Exactly.
So
you got it. You got it. Maybe I should just hire you.
Well, I'm open. We're open.
Now, maybe you should join us for impressive introductions, because you do have an impressive introduction. Because prior to this, I have known of Dr. Bob Lee. I've heard your voice on the radio for years.
Yeah.
You know, so when I heard it, it's like, oh my gosh. You know, you feel like you know this person, but you don't know this person. But that's the impact people need to have. It's a brand. Your voice is your brand.
Right, right. So you're going to give my my producer all the information, right? And we'll see what we can do with that on the 15th.
Yes, on the 15th, yes. I will definitely do that. And I hope to be there to make a positive impact on everyone who attends.
I'm sure you will. We heard about you too before you came here. We did the research.
You did?
Charlene, so the website is what again?
It's wmccnys.org.
Uh-huh.
wmccnys.org. That's Westchester Multicultural Chamber, New York State.org.
There you go. Charlene A. Nixon, founder and chief experience officer, Westchester Multicultural Chamber. We thank you for joining us, and you're always welcome to come back and share more.
I'm looking forward. It's great to finally meet you and have a conversation with you second time around. But
We'll see you again. Yes.
See you soon. Take care. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. All right, we'll take a break right here. More open on the way. Coming up. Welcome back. Our next guest is the national spokesman for Jehovah's Witnesses, and he joins us to speak about the 20th anniversary of the Watchtower versus Stratton and highlights its significance for protecting First Amendment rights. And how has it, no, one more time. And how that has impacted Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, please. Here we go. One more time. I like that opening though. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee, and our next guest is the national spokesman for Jehovah's Witnesses, and he joins us to speak about the 20th anniversary of the Watchtower versus Stratton and highlights its significance for protecting First Amendment rights and how that has impacted Jehovah's Witnesses. So please welcome to the show, Robert J. Henriks III. And it's always a pleasure to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. It's good to be back. It's really a pleasure to be able to speak on this very historic moment, because this decision back 20 years ago really had a profound effect on Jehovah's Witnesses and our evangelizing work, our preaching work. Many people know us going door to door. But it also had, over the last 2 decades, a profound effect on the First Amendment freedoms of many people, all of those who wanted to carry a message door to door, whether that was religious like us, biblical, or whether that was environmental or even political.
And we're talking about the Stratton case, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So back on February 26, 2002, the Stratton case came before the U.S. Supreme Court. We argued that a law that had been actually affirmed on two levels of federal courts, the district court level and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, it had been affirmed. And what it required everyone to do who wanted to go door to door was to get a permit from the mayor. Now, that seems innocuous when you think about it, but really, do you have to ask the government do you need their permission to talk to your neighbor? And so that was really a key question before the court. It wasn't just about Jehovah's Witnesses, but it was about really free speech in general.
Well, how impactful has this been for the First Amendment rights for Jehovah's Witnesses to go door to door with their door-to-door activities over the past 50 years?
Yeah, so as we look back to Jehovah's Witnesses and our 50 Supreme Court victories since the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and then the Stratton case, we would be silenced had it not been for these victories. Jehovah's Witnesses, we have an individual responsibility to obey Jesus' command to go preach. Jesus said, in fact, the last thing he said to his disciples and apostles before he went up, he said, "You will be witnesses of me, both in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the most distant parts of the earth." We are obeying that command like never before in history, with a website that is in 1,050 languages, with our global preaching work in 239 lands. But in many totalitarian countries like Russia, we are not allowed to do that. And so we get arrested because Jehovah's Witnesses, as an individual, we're not going to stop obeying God because the government tells us not to do something. We need to find a way to share a loving message with our neighbor. And in the case of Stratton, back in the late 1990s, Stratton wanted to regulate our ability to go from door to door. And that we felt from the beginning was unconstitutional. And on June 17, 2002, the United States Supreme Court, in a historic 8-1 decision, agreed that indeed that law was unconstitutional.
But Jehovah's Witnesses are not preaching door to door at the moment, right? Are we?
Yeah, it's ironic, Dr. Bob, that right now we have chosen, because of the pandemic, not to go to our neighbors, go door to door. I guess it was the third week. It was really March the 20th or so of 2020 that we instructed all to refrain from going door to door or public ministry, or even visiting those who wanted us to come back and make what we call a return visit on them. And so it is ironic that we're celebrating and commemorating this 20th anniversary where we established that right at a time when we're not actually practicing that right. But as of today, we have opened up our public ministry again, but not door knocking. So we will be, no doubt, back on the streets in New York City, back on the streets in the Bronx, where we have public witnessing carts, and we've had them for many years. We'll be back also making personal Bible studies, free home Bible studies with our neighbors, and making return visits on those who welcome us or want us to come, maybe giving a phone call to them and asking them, can we drop by? So that is happening again. But there is a kind of an irony here. But here's the key. As we commemorate 20 years, it's a reminder that we can lose our rights very quickly, and that municipalities really have to take note that even though we haven't been going door to door for the last 2 years, that right to do that right to practice our preaching work, to practice door-to-door knocking, which is well established in the scriptures in Acts 20:20, that right is well ensconced in the First Amendment of the Constitution, and municipalities really have to be very careful about trying to regulate that.
Yeah. Are you holding a special event, or did you have one yet, or if it's coming up?
Yeah. It's an exciting event because what we're doing is, especially at this time when we're not door knocking, we want to make sure that everybody knows that this has been a well-established right. So we are holding a live stream event on June 17th, 2022, where we're bringing the two lawyers who argued the case before the Supreme Court, as well as we're featuring the Religious Freedom Clinic at Harvard Law School, and they'll be involved in this program. And the program basically will look back on the history of this case, how it started, what the result has been, and where we stand right now from the issue of First Amendment jurisprudence, and how it is Jehovah's Witnesses have contributed to that in an unprecedented way over the last 60 or 70 years. We're holding that in our headquarters in Wallkill, and it'll be streaming on YouTube. It's primarily for attorneys, judges, municipal officials. We have law professors who are going to be tuning in. And it's also a continuing legal education course right now in 9 states. And so it's going to be a great event, very instructive, and I think something that will help everybody to remember this case in a way that they need to in order to, as we move forward with going back to door-to-door ministry sometime in the future.
Yeah, and this is going to be June the 17th.
That's right. June the 17th. 2022 is 20 years to the day when Justice John Paul Stevens, the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, announced the decision of the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Now, is this all on the website?
Yeah. So we are for those who are attorneys, we're telling them to go to legallearningstudio.com, legallearningstudio.com, Legal Learning Studio YouTube channel. And they'll find how to sign up, how to register for this continuing legal education event.
Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. It's been great to be here.
You got it. All right. We're going to take a quick break right here, but we'll come back and we'll continue to give you some of the best right here on Bronx Nets Open. Here we go. Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS, and our next guest is a Tennessee native and a luminary in the gospel music world. He was the founder and host of the Dr. Bobby Jones Gospel Show, and for over 35 years, has paved the way for generations of gospel artists. Please welcome to the show the Dr. Bobby Jones. Doc, welcome.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bob Lee.
Now,
2 Bobbies and both doctors.
Yeah. Hey, the last time I saw you, we were at the Harlem Week at Grant's Tomb, and we were doing something. It was a big show up there, and we took some pictures and everything, and the show was fantastic. And that's going to happen again toward I think the last Sunday in July. And if you're in town, you're welcome to come by and be a part of the whole thing.
Well, I'd love to. I'd love to do that. That was exciting to me. I had never been to Harlem before, and I had a different image of what Harlem was like. I had no idea it was like that,
Yeah.
But the people there were just, hundreds of people, or should I say thousands. There was a lot of people there. I really enjoyed and to be with you guys.
Dr. Bobby Jones, how was it like growing up in rural Tennessee with aspirations of starting a gospel career in this big old world of gospel?
Nothing like that. All of it is just got to be turned around. I grew up in the country, a little town of about 600 people, I suppose, which is to your surprise. Had no idea I didn't even know what gospel music was then, and until much, much later. So then I moved to a larger town called Paris, which was a few thousand people that lived there. So and finished high school when I was 15, and went on to Tennessee State University and got my bachelor's degree when I was 19. Started teaching in St. Louis, Missouri when I was 19 years old, and stayed there for 7 years. Moved back to Nashville, Tennessee, got introduced to gospel music through the Baptist church.
There you go.
You know how I did it? The strange thing was, I was living with my aunt and uncle in Nashville, and of course the university is there. So they had a piano there, and my aunt played by ear. And so every evening when she come home from work, she'd sit down to the piano, she'd play, and I liked it. I said, so when she wasn't there, I'd sit down to the piano, and I started, try to pick out a few things to play. Yeah. So one day I was listening to the radio one Sunday morning, and this lady this lady was on the air, and she said, we need a piano player to play for our Sunday school down at the First Street Baptist Church. Now, I was born in the Methodist church.
Uh-huh.
So I told my aunt, I said, I'm gonna go down there and apply for that job. I went down, but I couldn't play but three, I had three different notes I could do, G and C and F. That's all I could play. And a little bit of that, and they hired me. I can't believe it. So that was my first introduction to gospel music because it was a Baptist church and that's the music they sang. Yeah. So after I did that, and I told my mother, I'm playing the piano at the church. She said, really? I said, yeah. She said, what kind of church? I said, a Baptist church. She said, oh my God. And so I said, hey, Mama, they holler at the preacher. The preacher keep talking and they be hollering back at him. I said, and their choir don't take the choir stand like we do. They march in and they turn from side to side. All of that was very interesting to me. So that was the beginning of my introduction. Actually, I
heard a lot of noise in that Baptist church, huh?
Yeah, make noise, man. I was still a young guy then, So.
That was my first time experiencing that too in Columbia, South Carolina. We have Baptist preachers in our family. So I walked in and they were going off.
You had a similar experience.
Way different from the Catholic Church where I was brought up and out this way. So we were hooping and hollering and everything. But what challenges did you face when starting your career? Because there's always something. They're calling for you right now, Bobby.
Oh, wow. Well, starting the career, actually, I had no idea that I would be in the gospel music industry at all. I became a teacher. I worked hard to do that. And for many years I did, teach school. But when I got turned on to gospel music, started working with some of the choirs there, and I enjoyed it. I noticed that many of the people at the university where I was teaching, at Tennessee State University, I was teaching by this time, that they didn't appreciate gospel music. They would say, oh, you're singing that kind of music? I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I said, well, that's a cultural experience, it's spiritual and cultural. So why not, And so since they were so against it, so to speak, I wanted to turn the ball on them. I said, okay, since you think this way about the music, let me see what I can do to get involved with it. So that's how it got started. You never know what's going to happen. I had no idea, no plan, or nothing about it. You heard of James Cleveland and a lot of the good singers they had, Shirley Caesar, all of them. But, that wasn't what I was into. But once I did get to listen to a lot of it, I became addicted. How about that?
Not only became addicted, but you helped a lot of artists along the way, right? Who are some of those people that you worked with?
Oh gosh, everybody out there who was in gospel music at the time, like the Caravans with Shirley Caesar, like James Cleveland, like Hawkins family, Walter Hawkins, Andre Crouch, all of those. Andre and Edwin were two role models for me. I liked the way they presented their music and all, so I really tried to pattern somewhat after them. But now, know that I did not know that I was going to be doing gospel music. So we had a gospel show. I went down to the NBC affiliate in Nashville. And during that time, it was affirmative action. Black people weren't on TV. So every station was supposed to make a little space for them. So we went to the TV station and they asked, we got Bobby Jones and two of the people worked at this TV station. And they want to do a gospel show on Sunday morning. And we talked and finally they said, okay, we'll try it. So they gave us a half hour on Sunday morning. It became a hit instantly.
I remember.
Because they hadn't seen no black folk on TV, especially gospel music. It was at 9 o'clock every Sunday morning. It became number one immediately. And that was the beginning of my lift.
So you did 35 years of that, right, Bobby?
No, I did 4 years before I went to BET. We did 4 years.
You did 4 years before that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's how Bob Johnson was able to get my show. Some guys, they were having a NAFTA convention in New Orleans, Louisiana, and some guys took my copied my show down and put it on display. So Bob Johnson was there looking for shows because he was going to start a satellite network, and that's when he saw that show, my show, which was the only show that was there that was black. So it fit, just for God set it up just right for me, And then he saw the show and called me. Bob Johnson did in 1980. Said, Bobby Jones, I'm starting a new satellite network and I'm gonna call it Black Entertainment TV. And I saw your show and I would like to put it on our network. You'd be the first show. Yeah. He said, would you do it? I said, yes, sir.
Yeah, yes,
anything
sir.
to get out of Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
so
place
that's
at
how
the
it
right
happened.
time. And
Yeah.
35 years in, right? What did that do for your career?
Well, I stopped teaching. Left that career alone. You know, I taught for a long time. I didn't leave teaching until 1988. I was working with Bob Johnson starting in 1980. So it was a little it was a challenge to get into that, because I didn't really want to leave teaching, because I knew it was a pretty sure occupation and I didn't know anything about gospel, and I know they didn't make much money, but you know, it was fun.
Yeah.
So and it was spiritual. So that's how I translated, and that's how I transferred, I should say, over to doing gospel music on a full-time basis.
Yeah. So so you've done that. So what are you working on right now?
Oh man, look,
I won't tell anybody. I won't tell anybody.
No, it's okay. It's okay. There's another black network, that satellite network, and his name Reverend Johnson and Jackson, I'm sorry, and they live in Detroit, Michigan. So that's where this network is called Impact TV. But I was doing Impact TV the same time I was working with the BET. So I took my exit plan to the BET people to let them know that after 35 years, I'm going to retire from.
Yeah.
You know, I thought after 35 years, what else can I do? You know, let me go help somebody else. Yeah, because we built that network. I guess you knew that. Bob Johnson and I built BET Network. It was our program that did it. Yeah. And so after that, you know, I started working with Impact, and I'm still there. And because there is no other gospel show, there are no other gospel shows on TV, on mainstream TV now, and I'm going to do it until somebody comes, or the Lord tells me to stop. You know.
Yeah, right into the gospel wheels fall off.
Yeah. So the artists, the national artists, they come in to help me because they know what I'm doing. We don't get paid for it. The choir, I have a choir called Nashville Super Choir. I wanted a choir of great singers so that, you know, the people would enjoy it, and so we all donate our time, and the network gives us the space on this Impact Television Network, and that's what I'm doing now.
Can people sow into your ministry?
Of course. I asked them to. That's the only way we can keep it on. If the artists would come in and register, and you know.
Yeah.
And it's
so how do we do that? How do we sow into your ministry? Well,
they send the donations to post office box. Let me see what it is now. 158947.
Yeah.
158947. You can put that up on the screen. Nashville, Tennessee, 37215. So that's how
everything going. Keeps the ministry and everything.
Right. It's going. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you asked that, man. I'm glad you asked it, because we sure enough do need it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be supported. And also, you work on radio. You have a radio station. What's going on with that?
AURN, American Urban Radio Networks. I've been on that going on 20 years. I've been doing radio. So it's radio and television.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And touring all over the world. So
that's beautiful. I like that. Now we can follow you social media.
What'd you say?
Where can we follow you on social media?
My website is Bobby Jones Gospel. That, you know, they can go there. Yeah, just put my name in and put gospel music, and it'll come up. Yeah. There you go. So, but I'm Bob. I am not good with social media.
No,
I leave that to the young folk.
I was the last one to get involved with the social media, because the original social media was going out there in the public and shaking hands and kissing babies like an elected official, you know. And somebody said, you better get involved in this thing. It's going to pass you by. So I was the last one. If you look at my numbers, I got the lowest numbers out of all the other jocks. But I'm pretty well known from doing what I do in the community, you know.
Oh, I see. Great.
Is that the original social media? But I understand.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I understand, but you know, I guess we got to get involved in it somehow. We got to just ride this wave, huh?
Yeah, I have someone working it for me. You know, I'm old enough now that I can just say, "Hey, would you do this for me? Do that for me." You know, I'm over 80, so you know.
Oh my God! Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
but very particular about what I do, how I spend my time now, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob Lee.
Well, I didn't know you were over 80. My God. Woo.
Oh
God
yeah,
bless you.
I'm going on 85.
Yeah. You're looking good, man. You're looking good.
But God's taking care of me.
Yeah. And listen, I hope to see you for Harlem Week, that kickoff the last Sunday in July. If you're in town, maybe we can break some bread or something like that.
I would enjoy that very much. I love coming to New York. I tell you, man, you all are something else up there in Harlem. But do you live in Harlem?
I was conceived in Harlem. I'm in Queens right now. I live in Queens.
Oh, still in the New York area.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, Hezekiah will probably be there, as you mentioned, and some other gospel folk and a lot of community people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll have some fun. But listen, you're always welcome to come back on the show.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Dr. Bobby Jones, Dr. Bobby Lee, here's Bobby C. He has the latest in the world of sports coming up next right here on Open.
Last time on the show, we got a chance to speak with Fordham softball captain Kelly Bright on winning another Atlantic 10 championship here in the Bronx. We also spoke to her about her master's project on the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Here's part 2 of our interview.
If you were to try to put this into some sort of context, as a senior year for you at Fordham, you've basically had like the dream season. You picked your favorite athlete that's had, won all the accolades in a season. That's been the case for you. And part of that has actually been a few things, I think, which would be important for us to note here this morning. And one is your new job at NFL Films. So maybe share that with the fans at home.
Yeah, NFL Film. Oh, I can't say enough good things. I had this amazing opportunity to internship there this past summer. Loved every second of it. I learned so much. Sports is such a passion of mine, not just playing, but also watching, reporting on. And to me, I've always wanted to tell stories. I majored in journalism in undergrad and major in multimedia journalism in grad school. So to me, NFL Films is the perfect combination of that. They have such a high expectation and a high quality of their work. I mean, they win like 12 Emmys every year. It's insane. So getting to work with them last summer, I loved my experience. I knew when I came back to Fordham, I was kind of nervous because I was like, I don't know if they're going to remember me, but they did. And I was fortunate enough to get a lot of work here at Fordham Athletics, doing work in their video department. So it was nice to get reps in and get behind the camera and not just be on the field, but be behind the scenes as well, telling sports stories, which is really one of my biggest passions in life. So I'm starting there in June. I'll be working in their production department. I get to work on Hard Knocks, which I'm super excited for. If you guys don't know, it's basically a reality show about training camps in football. And this year it's the Detroit Lions. So I guess I'm going to be in Detroit for a month or two, which I've never been. So that'll be really exciting. But I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. So I'm also excited that he's coming back for at least one more season while I'm working there. So I'm hoping we get to do 1 or 2 pieces on him. If not, that's fine. I'm just so excited to have the opportunity to work at such a prestigious place.
And you mentioned that too. I mean, because the stuff that you did with Fordham Athletics, all of those videos, you got a chance to be part of some great teams this year. I think one of the other main dynasties, of course, on campus is women's basketball. And you did such an outstanding job chronicling what they did this year. Of course, everyone I think knows now that men's basketball has been on the rise. You were able to really capture so many great stories on campus. I actually think it's been an impressive spring again for Fordham, because you got the softball team and even something like the Fordham Club baseball team, which has been one of the under the radar stories on campus, someone that we've highlighted here on Bronx Up before. But talk a little bit more about that experience working directly with athletics.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I left NFL Films and I was kind of nervous that I was going to lose touch of that creative side. So I reached out to our video department with Fordham Athletics and I was like, hey, you don't have to pay me. I'm just looking to work. I just want to tell stories. Like, you give me a camera, I'll do whatever. You don't have to pay me. Just put me on a team. I did request. I wanted to do a women's sport. Like I said, I'm a huge women's sports advocate. So I was lucky enough. I did a few football videos, and then my main project really was working with women's basketball, who, like you mentioned, another just amazing team. Stephanie Gately, just you can't say enough good things about her. Just not just an amazing coach, but an amazing person. And she really took me under her wing, and got me involved in honestly too much. Like, I was in locker rooms with them. She had me I was like in a practice with them once. I had to run like laps with them, and I was like, all right, this might be a little too much, but it was super fun. I got to go to Notre Dame, film there. I got to film at George Mason, Seton Hall. Just so many amazing experiences and amazing people. I mean, the girls in that team are really, really special. So getting to capture their season through my own lens and get to tell their stories was something I'll truly never forget. And I think I really grew up as a storyteller in that process, getting to tell these stories of people that I love and people that, we don't really get to hear a lot about women's basketball, especially this year, the whole Kyle Neptune thing. Men's basketball really kind of stole the spotlight, and for good reason. They had a great run as well. And I got to work with them too, and that was really fun. But I think being able to give voice and highlight how great our women's basketball team really was something really special, and it's something I'm so glad I got to be a part of. When my season started, I haven't been doing as much videoing just because time commitments and that kind of thing, but it's just been so fun. And some of my best work, I think, in my journalistic career came during that women's basketball season, getting to put together some pieces for them.
Kelly, we also wanted to share another project that you worked on, which you did an outstanding job. Anybody that's on YouTube needs to check it out, but we've got an exclusive clip here for you this morning, and that's your Masters capstone, which is on the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Big year for women in sports. So check this out.
Although the proportion of women in the industry has increased in the past few years, the gap between male and female representation is still substantial. Although professional women's leagues do exist, most female athletes looking for a career in sports have to search beyond the playing field.
I use this example all the time, like how many players that I played with at Fordham, at like a mid-major school that was like pretty good, like successfully, who now like have nothing to do with softball. Like they could have been like All-American status, right? But then like are like a baseball counterparts who are getting drafted and different things like that. And like we're at the same level of a school, right? But they have an opportunity to continue to play. And like some of my friends who are some of the best to ever come through our school don't.
Kelly, I mean, just an amazing, amazing job. Talk a bit about being able to work on something that means so much to you.
I've said it 12 times in the past 10 minutes, but I just love women in sports. I mean, I grew up, my mom played in college. She played basketball at Connecticut College. She was a coach. My dad's a huge supporter of female athletics. So it's just been instilled in me since I was a young girl that, girls should be at that level playing field. We deserve the attention. We deserve the fans. We deserve the media, the opportunities that men do. And this being the 50th anniversary of Title IX, something that has had such an impact on my life. When it came to making my capstone thesis project, I couldn't think of a better subject to focus on. And Bobby, of course, you were my advisor, so I a lot of credit goes to you in steering me in the right direction and getting me some of those connections that I got to interview. But those conversations with some of those women who are in the industry and who have done much more than I have at this point were really special. And I huge shout out to them for being willing to talk to me. And most of those conversations, it's a 26-minute piece. I think each of them is only featured for, I don't know, like 6 minutes max, but most of those conversations were 2-3 hours long, and they were so open and candid about the state of the industry. And I really learned a lot from them. And I think something I really took away from each of those conversations was how passionate each of them was in terms of giving back. And I think Isis Young had a quote about pulling as she climbs and wanting to help future generations of female reporters, female athletes, female coaches, whatever it may be, female analysts, and wanting to continue that cycle and grow that base. That really stood out to me. And the fact that all of them were willing to help me with this project was really cool. But I also learned a lot going through this. I didn't know how drastic still, even though it's been 50 years of Title IX, how drastic some of those gaps are, especially just between representation in terms of gender in the industry that I'm about to go into. I mean, it definitely has improved significantly. I mean, you just look at if you turn on ESPN now, there's usually at least one, female on the screen, which is really cool to see, especially women of color. I mean, some of my favorite analysts and reporters, Maria Taylor is one of my favorites. Mina Kimes is another. They've just grown into popularity, and it makes me extremely excited for the future, because I really think that's just the beginning. I truly think we still have a long way to go, but we've come so far. And just knowing how, again, like I mentioned, how passionate these women are in furthering what's already been established, I think we've just seen the beginning in terms of women in sports. But this project was super fun and something I put my whole heart and soul into. So it's been so touching how positive the feedback has been to those who have seen it. I highly recommend people do check it out, because again, like, the more coverage and more attention women in sports get, the better. But it was something I'm really truly proud of. And Bobby, again, thank you for being a part of it as well.
Excellent too, Kelly. And it's been an honor to work with you, and just a remarkable, like I said, remarkable entire Fordham career, but especially I think your senior year in terms of being a star softball player, a WFUV 90.7 FM beat reporter, which is a big deal, working with some of the teams, working with Fordham Athletics directly, and now the new news of NFL Films. She is the queen of diamonds, whether she's diamond or out and about. We wish you the best of luck. Very excited for your future, Kelly.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee, and our last guest is a jazz drummer and composer, and he joins us to speak about his latest album, Two Continents, But One Groove. He highlights his upcoming live performances and much more. So please welcome to the show, T.S. Monk III. Yes, indeed. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Lee?
Nice
Good
to
to
see
talk to
you.
you again. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, because you let me talk.
Yeah.
And I like to talk.
Yeah, we got to let people know what it's all about. Now, I understand that you went into the hospital and you got some things done, but I'll let you tell.
To say I got some things done is actually an understatement. I had open heart surgery 4 months ago.
Yeah, I
was very lucky because I didn't have a heart attack. They kind of caught things before I had an actual heart attack.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the mend. I'm feeling pretty good. And I was about to go into the studio to do a studio album, which I hadn't done in like 13 years. And all of a sudden I couldn't do that. And so, because I got to, anybody who's seen me perform knows I'm like a wild man on the drums. So I can't be a wild man right now. So I said, I looked in my tapes and my archival recordings, and I found some live recordings that I said, wow, man, the band is really popping. I got some great people with me. Of course, I've got on piano Helen Sung, who is a recent Guggenheim winner and also a graduate of the first class of the Thelonious Monk Institute of Jazz under the direction of Ron Carter in 1998. Then I've got Patience Higgins, on alto, who's Patience has just played with everybody in the world. It doesn't matter, country, western, R&B, jazz, it doesn't matter. I got Willie Williams, who's been in my band for 27 years. I got a young, a young, absolutely incredible trumpet player named Josh Evans, who is a fabulous writer and performer in his own right. And then I've got Kenny Davis, who played with Branford Marcellus on bass. He played on the Tonight Show with Branford for 10 or 15 years. So the band is smoking. And, I'll tell you, most live albums are terrible. They really are. And I used to buy them. We all used to buy them and just say, and say, let me go get the studio record of my favorite tune, because they didn't nail it here. But we really, really nailed it. I got a tune on the album. The first tune on the album is called Sierra. That's my daughter's name. I wrote it for her. And I have to tell you, man, Sierra is some swinging stuff. you know, and I can't, you know, being who I am, Bob, I can't afford to bring no jive. I can't because if I do, people will say, well, you know, he's Monk's son. Why is he doing that? Why is he bringing this jive? You know, leave it alone.
It weighs on you. It weighs on you, right? Oh man, I gotta come with the gusto here. So I know you got to take it easy around this time, you know, trying to get back in. You can't go wild on the drums or anything like that.
No.
Or planning on going back out to tour?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. You know, my doctors tell me I should begin to be back to normal probably in the late fall, October, November, something like that. And then I'll get back out there, you know, and have a good time. You know, it's a privilege to play music for a living.
Oh man, you know, so many people, we've lost so many people. Somebody that lived right around the corner from you, right? M. Tume.
Yes, M. Tume, Wallace Roney, Jerry Allen, Onaje Allen Gums, Roy Hargrove, all in the last like 2 years, 3 years. It's unbelievable. And then we've lost grandmasters like Jimmy Eat, and we've lost Jimmy Cobb, so famous for playing just a cymbal on Miles Davis Kind of Blue, you know. So we've lost all kinds of people. You know, another friend that lives out here, great guitarist, Vic Jarvis. You know, it's been rough through the pandemic, and then you know, we can't even talk about all the people we've lost. You know, 1 million people with the pandemic. So I feel very, very privileged to be on the scene. You know.
But here we go. 2 continents, 1 groove, and you're surrounded by so many wonderful people, man. It's a beautiful thing. How'd you come up with it?
Oh yeah. How'd I come up with the name?
Yeah.
Because part of it was recorded at Ginny's, which is in the Red Rooster in Harlem.
Yeah.
And another part of the album was recorded at a club called Mary Ann's in Bern, Switzerland.
Whoa.
You know, yeah. So I did it on 2 different continents, but the band is smoking on both continents. So I said, yeah, well, it's 2 continents, but it's 1 groove. It's the Monk groove. You know, and it, you know, as the great Duke Ellington once said, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. You know, but I was fortunate enough to have worked with my father for the last 5 years of his career. And one thing Monk taught you how to do was swing. You know, so I feel very, very confident. I think all my fans will love this, and I think a lot of people who may be just getting to know me as an artist will love what I'm doing. You know, I'm kind of old school in that, you know, the music is complex but easy to listen to. And
but
that's
you have
the
that
secret of all great jazz.
Yeah, but you have that swing because you can come across all genres, and you've done that when you came out of jazz to Bon Bon V.
Yeah, I did Bon Bon V, and you know, even since I did Bon Bon V, I've done some singing on my jazz records. You know, I've done a lot of funk on my jazz records. I have a CD called Crosstalk, where I really deal with the issue of, you know, the various genres. And, you know, that's something that I don't think people talk about enough, you know, but good jazz musicians really mix genres because jazz takes from everywhere. We take from Africa, we take from Asia, we take from South America, you know, we take from R&B, we take from country, you know, and so I do that, and I've always done that. And that's part of the fun, you know, because I don't play a saxophone, you know, I don't play a trumpet, you know, so I don't have the advantage of melody, you know, being sort of my buffer zone. You know, I always say all these horn players, they got melody for their buffer zone. You did. But when you're a drummer, you know, what I realized early on, having grown up around Max Roach and Art Blakey and Roy Haynes and all these cats, Buddy Rich and so on, that people don't really understand drum solos. I mean, they like them. It's because, you know, you're doing a whole lot of stuff and people say, oh yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff. And then you play a little more and a little louder. And they say, yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff. but they don't know what the hell you're doing. You dig? So the great drummer band leaders didn't really get famous for playing drum solos. You know, Max Roach had the Max Roach Clifford Brown quintet. You know, Art Blakey had the Jazz Messengers. Buddy Rich had his big band, you know, and I took from those guys and I said, you know, my father used to tell me, don't just be a drummer, you dig? So I've had to be a band leader, and that means I've had to play a lot of different kinds of music so that, you know, because drum solos can get very, very boring. You know, after you hear one, it starts sounding like it's like gray noise, you know, white noise. It's just like noise. And in fact, I found when I was coming up, right? So I'm practicing every day, right? And people are complaining. They're complaining that, oh, he's practicing all day, and because they didn't know what I was doing.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but once I started actually formulating what I was doing, right? And then I go out on the road, and then the people are complaining that I'm not practicing because they had grown accustomed to me actually making sense, and they were understanding it. So being a drummer band leader is really a funny little place that I enjoy. I've really enjoyed it. I had the privilege of Art Blakey giving me my first drums.
Oh, look at that.
Of studying with Max Roach.
Woo.
And the
Hey, where
privilege.
can we go to get more information on you? Because we can talk for about an hour right here, and you deserve a whole lot more time. But they're gonna wrap me. Where can we go for more information on what you're doing? And you're always
you can go to my Facebook page, or you can go to my Instagram page, or you can go to the Thelonious Monk page on Facebook, and you know, or you know, check out the 28 years I was the chairman of the board of the Thelonious Monk Institute of Jazz. Which is now called the Herbie Hancock Institute. But everything they've done has been under the name of Thelonious Monk for the past 30 years almost. Wow. So, you know, I got visibility. I got a lot of visibility. I'm privileged with that too.
I like it. You got to come back and tell us more. Latest album, Thelonious Monk's latest album, 2 continents, 1 groove. That's what it's up. That's what's up. That band, wherever they go, they're rocking the house. And look for Thelonious Monk to get back on those drums. Just got his heart situation out of the way, and his doctor said he can get back out there in a little bit. Thelonious Monk, T.S. Monk III, jazz pianist and composer. He's got that album out. And that about does it for us right here. Thank you. Thank you for and thank you for checking it all out. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice, let the choice control the chooser. And remember, whether you say you can or you can't, either way, you're right. So say you can, and you will. Of the Doc Bob Lee, I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS. I love you all. Peace.